Hey, my friend Steve Cordasco at Mercer Advisors recently shared another success story. I love hearing them. This one involved in-house certified retirement plan specialist Dennis Jablonski. I think we're related. He works primarily with business owners. One of his friends, who has been his client for more than 20 years, a regular listener of this program, by the way, unexpectedly had to take over a successful family business because of his dad's sudden illness. That's a shame. Contacted Dennis. Dennis was able to take great care of him. He advised an insurance evaluation for a careful look at his client's life, liability, key man hazard, and other insurance coverages, and he'll do the same for you. If you call 855-558-3500, let the team help you plan your future. 855-558-3500, Cordasco Financial Network. That's a trade name owned by Mercer Global Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Andrew Garrett, Inc., which is not affiliated with Cordasco Financial or Mercer Advisors. Client experiences vary, and successful outcomes are not guaranteed. Time now for the headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter. TC, there's really only one headline in Philadelphia today.
That is true.
I'm showing it to you from the Philadelphia Inquirer. What a blast. I confessed that as a lifelong Philadelphia fan of all our teams, and one who was totally in for 08 and 09, in the Charlie Manuel glory days. I've not paid close attention this season, but I have been recently. And it was so exciting to watch that game in particular yesterday, knowing that if the Phillies won, they would advance.
It was electric.
I often think, I mean, we had in that era, the Charlie Manuel era, we had season tickets or a good piece of a plan. And I would always go with our sons. The boys were younger. But, of course, at that age, they weren't good for 9 innings. And I would have to feed them every couple of innings to keep it. I would have to entertain them. And it would cost me a fortune. I was very good for the per capita at the ballpark.
You want one of those Sundays in the baseball hat? Okay.
You totally get it. And okay, we would rarely stay for a full 9.
And it occurred to me that no one was leaving last night.
No. Not only were they not leaving
in the rain.
I can attest to the fact, of course they were not leaving. I can also attest to the fact they got there early because Saturday night with my wife, I went to the Sixers right across the street.
I saw that on Instagram.
And it was staggered. Or was
supposed to be.
For 6 o'clock Sixers tip-off, 7:45 first pitch across the street for the Phillies. So
how was the traffic?
It was bad. It was bad. And we were. I'll be local for a moment. We were totally bumper to bumper the whole Blue Route ride. And I said to my wife, the worst may be yet to come, because when you get to the stadium, you can get there and then it's like, oh my God, they're waving me away from this lot. They're waving me away from. But it all worked out.
Oh, phew.
It all worked out.
Oh,
and it was kind of.
Because sometimes the stress of that is just over. It's too much.
Sometimes.
Okay,
totally wipes me out.
You're right.
What was exciting is that they ring a Liberty Bell. A celebrity rings the Liberty Bell before the Sixers play.
Sure.
And as we were walking into the Wells Fargo Center, they were announcing the ringing of the bell, and it was Jalen Hurts, the Eagles quarterback, the undefeated Eagles quarterback. So I'm fumbling, and I get stopped by the attendant trying to get down to my seats. We had great seats, really great seats. And I'm fumbling for my phone, and I have a beer in my hand. I'm like, I hold my wife, hold my beer, Jalen Hurts. I want to see Jalen Hurts. And we get down, we don't see Jalen Hurts. So we're in these great seats, and I look up 1 and over 7. There was Jalen Hurts.
There he is.
So I took that creeper pick.
Right. Yes.
I was the watcher.
Yes, you were.
I was the watcher.
Yes, you were. You sent him a letter. You airdropped it.
I said perfect. I was watching the Phillies last night with one of our sons, youngest son, and when Bryce Harper came up and was about to hit that home run, and of course I didn't know he was about to hit but I remember saying to my son, well, they're paying him $330 million for a moment like this. And he delivered.
And he delivered.
And he
was
delivered.
Amazing. Do you want to hear it? I have that.
Sure.
I got to hear it again.
I'll hear it again. Yeah.
Sure.
I'll hear it again. Yeah.
Oh, you know what I'm doing? You know what? Every once in a while when I play the
I don't want to hear
audio,
it. If you can't do it, you
I
can't
can do it
it
right now. Hang on.
On the 7th pitch, Harper hits one in the air, left center field, Back it goes. Harper, the
Opposite
swing
field.
of his life.
Home run.
Swing of his life. The swing of his life.
Yeah.
That's what the announcer said. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's by the way, great line.
Yeah.
A great
Yeah.
line.
And that crack. Woo.
What I started to say was that sometimes Major League Baseball games, we've had this conversation, 3.5 hours, it asks too much, okay, with our short attention spans. But in playoff baseball, it's like every pitch, every batter, every inning matters.
Right.
And that's how I felt watching that game last night.
I like that
So,
you could
on to Houston.
I like that you could hold up the Philadelphia Inquirer on CNN early, for New Day this morning.
I held up
that was really
my
something.
WaWa coffee
Yeah, somehow
because I was making an election point.
How did you put it all together? You were making Philadelphia points. You were being a homer.
Okay,
you were
here's how
going into politics.
Okay, thank you, TC, for teeing this up for me. They were asking me about the Fetterman-Oz debate tomorrow night, and whereas I had said on CNN last week, hey, if the Padres and the Phillies go to 7 games, nobody's watching Fetterman and Oz. Already, it's a struggle to find the Fetterman and Oz debate. I need you to help me figure out, are any of the major networks carrying the debate? Because I think it's going to be a struggle to find it.
I think it's an exclusive. Hang on, I'll find
And
out.
then I was also saying that WaWa, our convenience store of choice in these parts, is closing 2 Center City locations because of crime.
That's a serious point.
Yeah, thus far, I don't think the reason that Oz and Fetterman have narrowed, I don't think is Fetterman's health. If tomorrow night, and I'm not hoping for this, I want the guy to be fully recovered. If tomorrow night the guy Fetterman has a stumble, then it could be an issue. People may look at him and say, "Wow, he really has
not ready." Or
he's not ready.
Yeah,
He's
maybe that's the
incapable.
answer,
Toomey
right.
says you got to be good on your feet. Pat Toomey, the incumbent. I don't think it's the stroke that accounts for the narrowing of the race. I believe that it is the crime issue. And there's a commercial that is airing in Pennsylvania right now, American Crossroads, a Republican PAC, that essentially says, go split your ticket. Go vote for Josh Shapiro, because we know you're going to anyway, and Dr. Oz. Because I'm trying to think of the line. Fetterman is way more radical than Shapiro. I think it's crime that is to the detriment of John Fetterman thus far. And the other thing that CNN played this morning, and I appreciated it because I'll tell you, TC, I don't know if this aired on CNN prior to my discussing it. Jonathan Capehart interviewed President Biden last Friday. And the interview, as any interview with the president, made news. But there was one exchange where if you read the exchange, you wouldn't know something was up. And frankly, you're going to play it again, and to hear it, you might not know something's up. But
I think you do hearing it.
Do you?
I think you do hearing it because the pause and the verbiage is just, I think, off.
But to watch
it is alarming.
Play it, and then I'll make my point.
I have not made that formal decision, but it's my intention. My intention to run again. And we have time to make that decision.
Dr. Biden is for it. Mr. President. Oh.
Dr. Biden thinks that, my wife thinks that we're doing something very important.
On CNN this morning, I said, when I was asked by Breonna Keeler, what did I think of that? I said I thought it was arresting. Substantively, there was nothing wrong with his response. Do you think that was a good word choice? How would you describe it?
Yeah, it was, and by the way, you know who else thought it was arresting? Jonathan Capehart. You can hear him say,
Mr. President?
Like as if
he needs
what's
to
happening?
jar him.
Right. Like I bet you wish he hadn't said that.
So TC, this is.
But it was almost like he was losing it or something. Like I wasn't sure what it was.
I don't know. I don't know. We're 15 days away from the midterm, and then all eyes are going to immediately shift to 2024. And we will be talking about whether the president really is going to run for re-election. I don't think that he is, and I don't think that he should. Now, here's an interesting issue. So you heard the audio. I encourage people to watch the exchange and let me know what they think on my Facebook page. Okay. How, if you're in the media, do you cover that? How do you cover the president's I don't know, astonishing response to Jonathan Capehart's question. I'm struggling for the word that sums it up. Arresting is the best.
Halting?
Halting. Good.
Maybe?
Good word. Yeah. How do you write that up? Okay. So, hat tip to Mark Halpern and his wide world of news. I was already thinking in the same terms, but Mark's a good guy, and he laid it all out, and I relied on some of his links. So from the New York Times, coverage of the Capehart interview. The headline is, as midterms near, Biden warns Republicans seek to dismantle Democratic legislation. The subheadline, the president also vowed to veto a federal abortion ban if Republicans regain control of Congress and seek to pass such legislation, in an interview with MSNBC. That's the headline and the subheadline. Okay. In the story, when I go to the final graph, so not until the final graph, with regard to the audio that I just played for you, here's what it says. Mr. Biden has kept a low profile on the campaign trail, choosing to avoid rallies and instead touting his legislative victories in smaller events. He reiterated on Friday to MSNBC that he intends to seek re-election in 2024, though he said he had not made a formal decision. That's it.
Okay, so they just dealt with the substance, not with the delivery.
Nothing.
I think
Nothing.
it's too significant, given everything that we've seen about President Biden. It's too significant not to mention.
Washington Post. Headline, Biden says he intends to run again in 2024 and has the First Lady's support.
Wow. Okay. Again.
Fourth paragraph. When asked if the First Lady supports a 2024 run, Biden nodded and paused before providing a full answer. My wife thinks that we're doing something very important and that I shouldn't walk away from it. It makes it sound like he was contemplative. When I watch that video, that is not what I see.
I agree with you.
Okay. Associated.
And I would be the first to tell you if I didn't agree with you on something like that.
As you do. as you are wont to do, Teresa. Want more?
Yes, please.
Associated Press.
Okay.
Headline, Biden, some in GOP not running out of concern for well-being. You got to go to the final paragraph. In the MSNBC interview, Biden also said his wife, Jill Biden, had encouraged him to run for re-election. He said, my wife thinks that we're doing something very important and I shouldn't walk away from it, Biden said. He added that while he intends to run for a second term, he is not ready to officially announce his re-election campaign. More in the New York Times than Washington Post. Neither of them, none of the three captured what happened.
Okay, are we wrong? Like, is that, I find both the substance and the delivery equally as important in this instance.
So do I.
Okay.
New York Post.
Okay, come on. They're gonna highlight it.
Headline, Biden appears to zone out.
There you go. There you go.
When asked what wife thinks about him running again in 2024.
Oh, no.
President Biden appeared to zone out after he was asked in a new interview whether his wife, Jill Biden, wants him to run for re-election in 2024. Then they have the quote. I'm not going to read it to you again. The full exchange. Then it says, Biden, 79, would be 86 years old at the end of his term if he was reelected in 2024. He has not officially declared another White House run as Democrats worry about his electability and mental well-being in his old age. So that was the sole focus of it. You know what I'm going to say? Somewhere in between lies the way it ought to be covered. You cannot just ignore that exchange. So, okay, we are 15 days out. The poll question today is actually about Donald Trump relative to January 6th. Should former President Trump be permitted to testify live before the January 6th committee. Liz Cheney said yesterday they're not going to allow him to turn it into a circus. He's not going to be permitted to testify live. Well, okay, then he's not going to testify. He's going to fight it, and he's not going to testify. I want to know if people think the only way you're going to get Trump is if he gets to do it live, and you're not going to edit the tape. You're going to get to see it. Is that worth it? Trump has really maintained a low profile for Trump. And I don't know what the next 15 days bring, but it'll be interesting to see if he can continue to sort of rein it in.
How did you vote on today's poll question?
Yes.
He should be allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a former president of the United States, and I don't know that it would make up any minds anyway, but let's see it. You know what I said? He should not have been the last person subpoenaed. He should have been the first.
Right.
Then they'd already be litigating whether he has to show up. Oh, and who's number 2 for a subpoena?
Who?
Mike Pence.
Right.
Mike Pence. Mike Pence should. Why do you even need to subpoena him? If I get within 40 feet of you chanting, hang TC, I think TC's going to want to tell her story without a subpoena.
Why?
But not Mike Pence.
Why am I part
Well,
of this
just
now?
because you're the one here.
Wow.
So bottom line, 15 days out, high interest. Each side has issues going for them. Abortion, January 6th for the Democrats. Crime, inflation, the economy, and borders for the Republicans. The momentum seems to be on the side of the GOP in the Senate races. The House, I think, is a foregone conclusion. But, you know, I shouldn't say that because we all need to get out and vote. But I fully expect Republicans to take control of the House of Representatives. I found interesting that a couple of days ago, Real Clear Politics, with their projections, right. And they sort of, they tabulate, they assess everyone's polling data,
right.
And then tell you where the averages are.
Correct.
They were at 53-47 for the Republicans just a couple of days ago. And I talked about it here. And now they're at 47-46 for the Republicans. So state of flux. And even though the momentum is, maybe they went too far initially. That's a lot of politics. Give me something that, you're interested in.
I still have politics, but it's across the pond because what the heck is going on over there? Headline, Boris Johnson rules out PM comeback bid. This from NBC News saying that Boris Johnson ruled himself out of running for the Conservative Party leadership yesterday, despite claiming he had the support to do so, ending a short-lived attempt to return to the British Prime Minister's job he was ousted from a little more than 3 months ago.
Bojo a no-go.
That was the headline at Smerconish.com.
Thank you, TC. That was my headline, and then I wrote it yesterday, last night.
Yes,
when I woke up this morning, it was the same headline on Drudge.
Does he have access to our Google Doc?
No,
what?
But I mean, look, maybe it was not so. Headless man in topless bar. I mean,
You're
the New York
getting
Post.
Very clever.
I'm always trying to do a little something. What else?
There's another one on Smerconish.com that I thought was interesting. The UK will have 5 prime ministers in 6 years. What's gone wrong? Talking about why does the UK have, what's this turnover situation and why does it work this way?
Yeah, it was a good NPR addressing of a question that interests me, and I think we're going to probably deal more with that this week as the situation unfolds. Why have they had such tumult? And one more as a follow-up impact segment. Sir Salman Rushdie has lost sight in one eye, according to his agent, lost the vision in one eye and the use of one hand following his stabbing in New York in August. 15 more stab wounds to the chest. It was, according to his agent, and of course we know this to be true, a brutal attack. Just horrible.
Just horrible.
Just a horrible state of affairs.
I said earlier today that we had lost sight of it, and that was a terrible turn of phrase, but wow, terrible.
But it's true. Okay, now I was about to compound and say we've taken our eye off that sad story. But,
I know.
But neither of us means any malice.
No, it's terrible.
We wish him Godspeed with his recovery. Last Friday, have Americans lost interest in Ukraine? 2/3 of more than 16,000 said no. Saturday, 33,000, closer to 34,000 votes. This is interesting. Which party will control the Senate after the 2022 election? 73% of those who voted said Democratic. I said on television, I think that that's showing a little wishful thinking on the part of the CNN audience, no doubt many of whom comprised the 33,000 who voted. But then Sunday, I said, which party controls the House? 54.86% said Republican. And today's survey question, today's poll question at Smerconish.com. Should former President Trump be permitted to testify live before the January 6th committee? If the only way you get him under oath and questioned about the events of January 6th is his agreement, okay, I'll do it live, assuming the reports are true that he would do it live, do you give him that opportunity? Or run the risk that he's going to fight the subpoena? And I think he makes a good point of saying, well, they're just going to edit me, and what they're going to show the American people is going to be an edited version. Let him see everything. You give him what he wants so that we can get him on the record? Or do you just let him continue to fight the subpoena and it goes on and on and on? And of course, then what happens is the election result kicks in and Republicans shut down the entire investigation anyway. That's the poll question at Smerconish.com. Go cast a ballot. And if you're in the 39 states that have early voting, when you're ready, cast your ballot for those elections as well. See you tomorrow.